Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I am delighted to welcome you to our morning Sunday celebration. I'm going to invite you now to stand and sing with us. We have a guest artist with us this morning, and his name is Reverend Jack Fowler. And Jack, I'll introduce him a little bit later on, but Jack is going to lead us in the opening song, and I'm not quite sure what it is. So we're going to turn it over to him and let him go for it, but I'm going to invite you to stand, and then midway through the song, I'm going to invite you to just stop singing and go around and say good morning to everybody, and then you'll come back and we'll finish up the song. So I'm going to turn it over to Jack, and we'll take it from there. So Jack, it's all yours, hon.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm coming to you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. So glad to be with you. This is a song called God in Everything. It's really simple. You can catch on. Really repetitive lyrics, but it's the truth that God is in everything. I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in every. Now we feel it. I feel joy, I feel peace. I feel goodness surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. And I feel happiness, I feel freedom. I feel the beauty that lives in me. I feel perfection in what life brings. I feel God in everything. Now we choose together. I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose goodness surrounding me. I choose love in every breath I breathe. I choose God in everything. I choose happiness, I choose freedom. I choose the beauty that lives in me. I choose perfection in what life brings. I choose God in everything. I know joy, I know peace, I know goodness surrounding me. I know love's in every breath I breathe. I know God's in everything. I know happiness, I know freedom. I know the beauty that lives in me. I know perfections in what life brings. I know God's in everything. Yes, I know God's in everything. All right. I heard people clapping. This is cool.
Give Jack a hand for pressing through all that. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack.
Woohoo!
Right.
Yeah.
Woohoo! All right, everyone. I'm going to invite you to come back to your seats now and to go ahead and turn off or silence your cell phones and prepare for the meditation song and the opening prayer, which are going to be done by practitioner Suzanne duBois. So let's just go into this sacred space within right now.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for the these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself. I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find God. I find myself.
In this moment, we are surrounded by the presence and the source and the spirit of all that is. There is, in this universe, perfection, love, and joy. It is manifested in all that we see, all that we think, all that we do, everyone and everything surrounding us and beyond all of our imagining, beyond anything we can imagine. It is there, growing in celebration of life. That life that gives and gives and gives. That life that creates. Every part of every one of us to express and manifest perfection and joy and happiness and givingness, because it is giving. I am part of this spirit, and so are all of you here present and here listening, and all of the universe and everyone in it is expressing the perfection of spirit. And as we embrace that knowledge, I claim for all of us an opening where there is more and more and more than we can imagine. Giving, receiving, cause and effect, best that is everywhere is ours now to give and to receive. Everywhere we look, we see that happening. The trees are falling to the earth to nurture the ground. The rain falls to the earth to nurture the ground, and the sun rises to nurture everything that it shines upon. I am deeply grateful for this abundance of life, this abundance of givingness and receiving in the cycle of life. And I know that today, each of us will find a gem in the service today that we can take home to nurture us. Whether it is in the words of Mary, the music, the wonderful play that's coming to an end tonight, everything has a gift in it for you. And I accept it. I accept it now with deep gratitude and joy. And as I direct my word into the law of mind, I invite you all to say with me, and so it is.
Thank you, Suzanne.
So right here, right now, we're all exactly where we're supposed to be. The presence of God is here because we are here. You are the light of the world. You are the star of the show. You are the very beloved, holy child. Right here, right now. Let's move into that sacred space. Right here, right now. We have come into the presence of God. And our hearts are open to the love found. Right here, right now. If you'd like to sing along, it's right here, right now. Right here, right now. We have come into the presence of God, and our hearts are open. And our hearts are open to this love that's found. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. We have come into the presence of God. And our hearts, they're open to all this love that's found. Right here, right now. Right here, right now.
Thank you, Jack. I want to say a little bit about Jack, actually, because I didn't introduce him earlier. So, Jack has been around the New Thought movement for a long time. In fact, Jack, I want to tell you hello from Barbara Leger, Reverend Dr. Barbara Leger, who you went to Ukraine and Russia with back in 2007. Great dear friend. She wanted to welcome you this morning. She's speaking someplace else, so she couldn't be here today. But he toured Ukraine and Russia, facilitating speaking workshops and presenting concerts with Neil Donald Walsh back in Ukraine and Russia with Reverend Dr. Barbara Leger in 2007. He served as music director, workshop presenter for Centers for Spiritual Living Conference at Asilomar. He was a speaker and workshop presenter for the Canadian New Thought Conference in Winnipeg. And he served on the staff at Unity of Nashville as music director from 2009 to 2012. Now, he is the spiritual director at Unity of Metairie, which is near New Orleans, Louisiana. He began playing the piano at age 3. His parents were both ministers. So he played in church a lot. He was classically trained, and he was signed to a major songwriting contract at the age of 19. So Jack has been around doing music and spiritual focus for a really long time, and we're very glad to have had him here with us this morning. So please, let's give another warm welcome to Jack Fowler. And of course, my iPad is telling me it can't find the laptop. Hello, darling. There it is. I knew you were there somewhere. Hallelujah. Okay, so now we're going to go to, now we shouldn't be on me. There we are. Well, that's not where we want to be, though. We're going to skip it because we did Jack's music instead. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. There we are, to this slide to tell you about this week's production planner for the giving program. So our giving program for 2022 is completing next week with our commitments. And so all along this 8-week program for 7 weeks, we've been doing this process of A Star is Born. And next week is kind of our cast party celebration. It's our Commitment Sunday. And so I want to invite you to, as you do the exercises for this week, which are about the star asking, making requests, and receiving yeses. Now, many of us are better at giving than we are at receiving. This week, we're going to practice receiving. And so you received, when you came in this morning, a little checklist for yourself with some gold stars. So each week, this week, your practice is going to be every day to ask for something. And as you receive it, give yourself a gold star and note how it felt to ask and to receive. Just do that for 7 days. So you're going to start today, asking and receiving. And if you are missing those, would you give us a wave so Paula, you can bring them to you? If you didn't get one of these when you came in, raise your hand so Paula can find you, and she will send you one of those. So you've got your Star is Born Scene 7. You've got your production planner that will lead you through this. And then you've got your little checklist to keep track with your gold stars. And take this as this little practice as a sacred consciousness builder. So consciousness building practices don't need to be difficult or onerous or take a lot of time. What they require is that we do them. So if you take this little thing home and you throw it in a pile someplace for the week, the built-in growth that's planned for you and gifted to you in here, it's not going to happen. You actually have to take this and do it. So I'm going to encourage you to do that, and it will feel silly. Good. So go ahead and feel silly this week. It's part of the process, okay? And what we're going to move to now is the recognition that we have these wonderful actors who have been practicing week after week to do these wonderful scenes for you. And this is the culmination of everything they've been practicing. This is Scene 7. It's the final scene in this one-act play. So I want to invite all the actors to come forward now, and let's give them a hand of acknowledgement as they gather to begin. Places, everyone. Just take your places up here. Everybody where you need to be. All right. Get everybody up there on the platform, because we can't see you unless you're up there.
We're not up there yet.
I know, I can tell. All right, so scooch this way. There you go. A scooch on that end. We're master scoochers now. All right, and action.
We wrote the script of our life, and its beautiful words are so inspiring.
You're a part of me.
We cast the play with the perfect characters to portray our life, and they gave us a superb performance.
You're a part of me too.
We directed our play brilliantly by looking through our creator's eye and seeing the work performed perfectly. It was masterful.
And you're a part of me.
We found generous and conscious giving patrons who supported and encouraged us so that our play could be made into a film. Isn't that wonderful?
And you're part of me as well.
We got quiet on the set and created the exact action we wanted. The outcome was perfect.
And you're part of me.
We struck that delicate balance between creativity and reality by cutting the negatives to release the clutter in the story of our lives. It's a masterpiece.
And you're part of me too. And what about those voices I kept hearing all around me?
Yes, dear, we're still here.
We've always been here. You were just finally ready to hear us and accept us as your own this time.
I'm amazed how long it took me to realize I can't get what I need from external sources. Everything I needed to make me a star was right here inside of me all the time.
I remember how you thought at the beginning that someone else had to discover you.
That you weren't good enough to ever be a star anyway.
I remember. But now I understand that when I let go of fear, design what I want to do, commit, get quiet, and listen to my inner voices of wisdom, there's nothing I can't handle. The movie's enough proof of that, but there's something stronger telling me all that, too.
You mean something more effective than rave reviews your movie is getting? Better than worldwide fame and recognition?
Yes, something even better than that.
Something better than the Oscar that you just won and the congratulations text from your mom saying, I guess this is a real job anyway.
Well, don't keep us in suspense.
I really do enjoy the fame and recognition. Don't get me wrong, but even better has been learning about my personal power. My self-image now contains all parts of me I got to know so well during this process. When I look in the mirror, now I see the brilliant writer. I accept the choices of the casting director. I know the strength of the casting director, and I know the strength of the director and the wisdom of the agent inside of me. I mind the cues and the quiet of the stage manager. And I incorporate the views of the talented editor who puts it all together. Most of all, I really get the voices of my inner guidance now. I trust them and lean on their guidance.
We really are all one, aren't we?
The diversity of voices, young and old, feminine, masculine, they are all inside of each one of us.
I've learned from all of you who are really part of me that I really am a star. And so is each person. We just have to look in the mirror and listen to the wisdom inside of us. And honey, there ain't nothing can stop us now. Voila.
You know, when I asked this group of people to take on these little roles, and I told them, you know, you don't have to memorize your lines. We're going to have you up there with your scripts and everything. And they were all so game to do it. And Elizabeth Austin is a great example to me because right off the bat, she said, well, if you want me to, I'm not an actor, but I'll give it a shot. And that's how it started. So everybody was willing to step up, and I think they really deserve another acknowledgement. So let's give them a hand for 7 weeks and 7 scenes. Bless their hearts. Very impressed with them. So as we come into week 7, we're looking at the power of stardom and what it means to be a star. If we look at the fact that every single child that's born is actually a unique expression of the one presence and power of the universe, what more of stardom could there be? Plus, we're actually all made of stars. We're made of the same substance that the stars are made of. So there is some stardom and stardust in us already right where we are. So we're talking today about the power of stardom. I love this little guy. He's a superhero, but he already knows that he is a star, and he's just about to save a disaster that's happening because it's his consciousness. So consciousness is what I want to talk about today. When you are a star, what does a star expect? A real star who knows they're a star. So a real star can expect to be treated with respect. They can expect to have a certain measure of credibility for what they say. They get attention for it. They have influence. They have power. They have choices and a certain amount of control, and they have opportunities, all right? This is what stars who know they are stars can count on. Now, some of what they don't realize, they're also responsible. They also have commitments that they need to make. So to him who is given much, much is expected. When we acknowledge and recognize the power that we have in the creative law that's in us all the time, when we own that, then more is expected of us. Ernest Holmes, our founder, says that trained thought is more powerful than untrained thought. So what that means is when we learn to pay attention to the power of our thoughts and our words, they begin to have more power. I can remember years ago, a minister who is now long passed, Dan Morgan, I think was his name, who used to be a radio announcer. He had one of those voices that's resonant and big, you know. And Dan also had a past reputation as an atheist and an alcoholic. So when he came into science of mind, when he came into religious science, obviously a lot of things in his life changed and healed and got cleaned up, and he began to understand the power within him, that he didn't need to be trying to control the universe, because the power to set forth the path of his life was within him, and he was responsible for it. And he said, you know, what I discovered was that stuff that I used to be able to think and say and do, I now couldn't get away with. It was like I'd get an immediate smack back from the universe if I did some of that stuff. And I thought, how come, you know, what's changed? The field should be the same. And he said, what I didn't realize was that as I became more conscious, as I began to practice more, the guardrails began to come closer together to keep me on my path. And all that was happening is I was just smacking into the guardrails as I was learning, as I was going, as those guardrails of consciousness were pointing me in a direction. So when we become aware of ourselves as being given those gifts, embodying that presence and that power, then we have more responsibility to pay attention to what we say and what we claim as true and what we think and what we do, because it has more impact on that creative process in our lives. Is this resonating with you? You feel what I'm saying here? So we take in that responsibility and commitment. And as we do that, we discover more is available to us than what we thought. So this morning, I'm going to be sharing just quotes from Ernest Holmes, and maybe some sprinkled in from Jesus as we go, too. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said in Can We Talk to God, the secret of spiritual power is a consciousness of one's union with the whole and the availability of good. It is consciousness of one's union with the whole and the availability of good. So, consciousness of one's power sometimes reveals to us that we can make choices that allow us to shape the experience that we're having. And this little story kind of shines a light on that. So, a lawyer and an Englishman a lawyer and an Irishman, this is important. A lawyer and an Irishman, I should know as an Irish person, sitting next to each other on a long flight, and the lawyer was thinking that Irishmen are so dumb, he could easily put something over on this guy. So the lawyer asked if the Irishman would like to play a fun game. And the Irishman really just wanted to take a nap, so he politely declined, and he tried to take a few winks, to catch a few winks, but the lawyer was persistent. This game is really a lot of fun. He said, I ask you a question, and if you don't know the answer, then you pay me €5. Then you ask me one, And if I don't know the answer, I pay you €500. Well, this caught the Irishman's attention. And so to keep the lawyer quiet, he agreed to play the game. So the lawyer asked the first question, what's the distance from the Earth to the moon? And without a word, the Irishman reached into his pocket, pulled out a €5 note, and handed it to the lawyer. Now it was the Irishman's turn, and he asked the lawyer, what goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4? Well, the lawyer used his laptop to search all the references he could find on Google. He sent emails to all of his smartest friends, all to no avail. And after more than an hour of searching, he finally gave up. So he woke the Irishman up and handed him the money. And the Irishman pocketed the €500 and went right back to sleep. Meanwhile, the lawyer was going nuts, not knowing the answer. So he woke the Irishman up again, and he demanded, well, so what goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4? And without a word, the Irishman reached into his pocket, handed the lawyer €5, and went back to sleep. And the moral of the story is never mess with an Irishman. Now, when you know that you have the power, then you have choice, right? When you know you have the power, then you have choice. Now, all of us are stars. The likelihood of us, actually any individual, one of us existing, is very small. And yet we're here. So Wayne Dyer used to say to teenagers, you won the first race you were ever in. You won the first race you were ever in. Sperm and egg, you won it. That makes you a winner. You were born a winner. And also what I would say is the likelihood of us being here is so small that it's clear that our specific characteristics were necessary for the universe to be complete. God does not waste time. Manifestations are abundant, and they look like waste because there's like so many grains of sand, so many flowers, so many seeds, so many stars, so many human beings, so many bugs. And yet, each one was necessary to the expression of that one presence for the universe to be complete. So here we are. We are stars in our own rights. And what we declare persistently in consciousness comes to be. It comes into our experience. Now, that's a double-edged sword, because if we constantly declare limitation, we can produce it in abundance. And probably most of us have done that. Now, I took on 2 major places to learn about abundance. I grew up Irish and Catholic, okay? 2 major places to enter into a group consciousness of lack and limitation. And so the opportunity then was I going to stick with that or not? And I can remember in college feeling like, and I assumed this was true of my whole generation, which clearly was not true, but that we understood that money was not important, that the important thing was our integrity and our creativity and our commitment in the world. That was what was important. We weren't going into business. We weren't becoming secretaries. We were following our heart's calling. Our first priority was not to make money, and we didn't. A lot of us didn't. A lot of us still aren't. But that's true in every generation. But somehow with my background and my generation, as I perceived it, I thought it was good and holy to live comfortably, but, not to be too much on the wealthy side, right? There was something questionable about money. Now, that idea pervades our entire culture still to this day. And what it means is that those who have wealth are often afraid to lose it and hang on to it tightly and try to accumulate more, because that consciousness of lack still pervades even in the wealthiest of people. There is, Oprah was having a conversation with J.K. Rowling, both very, very, very successful wealthy women who grew up in poverty and experienced poverty as adults. And both of them admitted that there is still a fear that they will be plunged back into poverty. That's the consciousness of the human race as we experience that in the world. Now, we in Science of Mind, in religious science, we who practice in Centers for Spiritual Living are called to cure that belief in the holiness of limitation. Here we have a presence of God that withholds nothing, that absolutely, as Jesus said, it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Why don't we have the kingdom? Well, it's not the kingdom's problem. It's not that there's anything wrong with God. There's nothing going on that side. I can't remember if it's Ashley Brilliant or one of those people who said, if you are feeling separate from God, who moved? Well, it ain't the infinite, which is omnipresent. In fact, the truth is you can't get out of that presence. So when we feel disconnected from it, we are intensely connected to something that isn't true. As the scene showed us this morning, all the aspects of God, all of them, all of those qualities, they're in us. They're who we are. But we only get to see them to the extent that we allow ourselves to believe it. And no one can make us believe it. Ernest Holmes said that faith is like a muscle. You have to use it in order to strengthen it. That means entering into that neutral, unknown territory where our faith is not strong and calling it forth like a warrior. So the creative law, we already know, it can't say no. That's not an option for creative law. It's absolutely neutral. It's not aware of itself. It just does what it does, and it acts upon our thoughts and beliefs. So if our thoughts and beliefs are mired in limitation, the creative law might have the capacity then to produce anything for us we could possibly desire, but it is limited by what we accept and believe. Are you with me here? Yes? Okay. So our power manifests our word. The tremendous power that we have manifests our word, and our word is our belief. It's not the faith we spew when we're saying affirmations on Sunday. It's what we tell each other in our unguarded moments every day, all the time. Those things that we claim as the truth, which may be kind of partially factual, but not entirely true. So if we want to know what we actually believe, we just need to look at our history, to look at our own lives. Are we experiencing repeating lessons in our life? Like I thought I handled that. Why is it back again? I'm done with that. Okay, maybe we are done with it, and maybe the reason it's showing up in our lives is so we have one more opportunity to say, no, you have no power over me, go. You are no longer welcome here. Thank you for your service, out the door. This is what I claim is true for me now. One of the practitioners that is from Agape, who was at Rhythmia with us when I was down there, said her kids used to think she was crazy because she'd be walking down the hall in her home, like her kids were teenagers, and some thought would come to her that was, an old belief. And she would stop right where she was in the middle of the hallway and go, no, out, no more. You have no more power over me. Her kids are going, she's talking to herself again. Our mother has lost her mind. But this is how she created and anchored herself in her faith as she was claiming it. This is what she felt she needed to do to make it clear in her consciousness. Does this make sense? So there's a little bit of craziness that we're all invited into in order to claim that if we want to. In Love and Law, and these were teachings of Ernest Holmes from 1918 to 1920, he said, your consciousness, your creative power is limited to the amount of belief you have, the word you accept. If you believe you're living in an imperfect universe, it is imperfect to you. God has not erred. God has not made a mistake. There is nothing wrong. If there was something wrong, the wrong would be experienced universally, but it's not. What we experience is individualized through us according to the governor, you might say, that we attach to it ourselves. So what are we declaring? Well, now it's time to pay attention to ourselves, to really notice that, yes, we are all stars, and what we declare comes to be. So, yes, it is a double-edged sword, but then the question becomes, okay, if I know it's a double-edged sword, then let me look at myself and say, what am I declaring? Let me listen to myself as I'm talking during the day. What am I saying is true for me? What am I claiming? Do I say I'm sick? Do I say I'm limited? Do I complain about difficulties with my relationships? Those are clues. It doesn't mean we have to stifle those feelings. What it means instead is those are places that we need to address. We hear ourselves telling us what the lesson is that we need to be working on. But if we're not paying attention in that way, we don't realize that we're trying to coach ourselves to recognize, oh, that's something I need to stop saying, and choose something else instead. You want to fill it with something, not just stop and leave a blank, but fill it with something. What do I want to claim instead of this? What do I want to see come into my experience? Yes, it isn't factual yet. It isn't true in my outer world yet, but it is the spiritual truth of who I am. Let me claim that for myself. So what if it seems so true to me that I'm stuck because I believe a bunch of stuff that isn't true? What if I believe stuff that isn't true? You know, there's a story that with circuses that have elephants, they take baby elephants and they chain them with huge chains and spikes because baby elephants will tug and pull, and they're big, really, even babies. They will tug and pull and struggle and strain. And when they cannot get free, eventually they give up. So that an adult elephant can be tethered with twine and it won't go anywhere because it has learned incompetence, but it isn't the truth. So, like all of these characters in The Wizard of Oz, what they believed about themselves was that they lacked the very thing they're strongest in. If you watch the movie with those eyes, you'll see that the smartest person is the scarecrow. The most compassionate, heart-filled person is the Tin Man. The most courageous one is the lion, not because he doesn't feel afraid, but because he goes ahead and does it anyway. And Glinda says to Dorothy, you had the power to go home within you all the time. And the rest of them said, well, why didn't you tell her? She said, because she wouldn't have believed me. And that's the dilemma that we're in. If we believe something that isn't true, it becomes true for us. And so we don't have the evidence to show us that what we've learned about ourselves is false. Instead, we need a willingness to reconsider, to look again, to assume a depth of goodness, of capability, of abundance, of peace, of wholeness, whatever it is, and to move in that direction with our belief even when we can't see it yet. That's what faith is. Faith isn't certainty. Faith is moving when we're not certain and taking hold of it anyway and going in that direction. It is a risk. So now we see, okay, so now we have new results. Now I live in a new world. These results are showing up, and maybe they're showing up so fast it scares me. Sometimes when people come into Science of Mind, that's the first thing that happens. They try it and it works. Like beginner's mind, like right now, and they get scared. So they retreat right back into, all the belief system they've been living in for years and years. Well, that was just a coincidence. It was just a fluke. Anything could have made that happen. And we talk ourselves out of the very open door that we created ourselves instead of walking through it. So our practice then, when we're in that, is to choose and practice the changes. We have to be willing to believe in the power of our own intuition that's guiding us. To remember, we have done it before. We can do it again. To risk having it not work without it taking some time. To risk looking wrong or being embarrassed. We have to persist and let go of asking for immediate proof. We have to allow ourselves to be successful. And then we have to ask, well, now what? Now I have new results. Now what am I going to do? In the Science of Mind magazine, this little excerpt from Writings of Ernest Holmes was printed. It said, "There is a power in us right now, if we could unshackle it, which is the same power that swings the planets in their space and holds them there." Think of that. There is a power in us right now, if we could unshackle it, which is the same power that swings the planets in their space and holds them there. That's amazing. That's us. And the universe waits on us to bring forth what we will. It does not say, but you're capable of so much more. It doesn't say, you're such a disappointment, I wish I hadn't created you. It doesn't say, you're not working to capacity, you could do better. No. It says, what else have you got for me? What else have you got for me? Show me some more. Create something new. Use your imagination. Go on, give it a try. That's the universe constantly encouraging us, constantly saying, yeah, bring forward something more. So we are all invited into an experience of star birth. Star birth. We are already here as stars, but we can experience our star birth again and again and again. So Amanda and I got 2 new kitties this week. Now, when we went to the Humane Society previously, we had looked at a number of bonded pairs, and we didn't quite feel like any of them were ours. I was looking for them to be at least curious and responsive, to us, but we weren't really feeling it. So when we went back this time, and we saw these 2 that were so shy that they hid together under the bench in the room that we were there to see them in and wouldn't come out. And yet, somehow we knew that these 2 were ours. So when we told the gals there at the Humane Society, yeah, we want these 2, and they went, really? Those 2? The shy ones? You sure? Yeah, we want those 2. So they're in their safe room. They're in their safe room. Bailey and Callie. Now, Bailey is the black and white one. She's gotten more courageous and more curious. So she's leading the way. So if you go and sit in the bathroom now for a while, Bailey will come out and she'll get up closer and closer and closer, and then she'll kind of wait to be petted, and then she'll want to be petted, and then she'll climb in your lap, and then she'll climb out and in and out and in. Meanwhile, Callie, the gray and white kitty, would stay in hiding. But now Callie has gotten curious. She hasn't let herself be petted yet, but she gets closer and closer. Now she's beginning to express annoyance with Bailey that she's getting attention. So when Bailey, flops over a little further away, Callie will come over and bite her on the ear. Like, you're getting all the attention and I don't like it. But she still won't come over and actually get it, although we can feel how much she wants to. She just can't do it yet. So what happens is, when Starbirth is offered, it's ours for the taking, but it's ours to accept or not. And we can have it. We can have it completely if we have the courage and the curiosity to try. Now, what I know without a doubt is that Callie has enough courage and curiosity to try. She's just not quite there yet. And I figure we can be as patient as we need to be until she's ready to climb into a lap, because she wants it. It's coming. And I was thinking that it reminded me of a scene in The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, that movie, where Ashley Judd has taken a bunch of the kids out to get flights in this little biplane that happens to be out in a field near their home. And her oldest daughter is too afraid to go, so she won't go. She won't go. They can't convince her. All the kids get rides. Then they pile back in the car and they go back to the house, and she's weeping because she missed her chance. And she wants to go. And so Ashley Judd takes her back out there, bargains with the guy again, convinces him to do it, and he takes her on a ride. So she finally gets her ride as well. And to me, that's Callie. That's where Callie is right now. She really wants it, but she can't quite let herself have it yet because it's her fear is battling with her courage and curiosity, but her fear is losing. And that's what I want to claim for us this morning, that we are all stars, and we are in a new phase of star birth. And part of this phase of star birth is the invitation to lovingly and prayerfully look at what our part is in the giving goal for this coming year for Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. To come to that lovingly and open-heartedly and look into it with love and say, what is my giving goal for this year? What am I called to bring forth to empower this place, to not only be able to stay here at the Masonic, but for further growth and developments along the lines of what we've been doing and more? What's my part of that, you see? Because Golden Gate has a giving goal for this coming year, and I'll talk to you about that next week. But the important part now becomes, what is your part of that giving goal? So this week, I want to invite you to really prayerfully consider that, so that next week, when we do the giving process, you are fully in, 100%. I'm here, I am committed, I'm visible in my stardom, in my power, and this is my choice. This is my giving goal for 2022. We want to come to the giving bowl with that consciousness because it is power. Does this make sense? So we're anchoring ourselves in that power, beginning right now this week by practicing asking and receiving. Because you can't give well unless you can receive well. We think we can, but we don't really. Because when you give without the ability to ask and receive, you've always got a hold of it a little bit, right? So like if I give it to you and you don't use it well, or if I give you this and you never wear it, or if I give you this and I don't see it, showing up in the way I think it should in your life, then I'm kind of like this. Well, shouldn't have given that to that person. It was a waste, right? That's when you know that you're not good at asking and receiving. Because when we freely give, it doesn't matter what happens to it out there, because it was the action of giving that was the gift, right? Not control over what happens to it after we give it, but the act of giving. Now, I don't mean to imply that Golden Gate is going to be profligate with what you give. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm talking about the power of receiving well with grace and graciousness, with gratitude, with open-heartedness, receiving with a sense of worthiness and appreciation and balance and wholeness. That's what we're cultivating this week, so that we are worthy receivers and givers. So I want to invite you to stand with me now for the affirmation for this week, because we want to take in all of the aspects of stardom, all of the opportunities and possibilities, and all of the responsibilities and commitments. So let's say this together. I accept success and confidence with modesty and grace, knowing that I am right where I'm supposed to be. Let's say it again. I accept success and confidence with modesty and grace, knowing that I am right where I'm supposed to be. And while you're standing, we're going to anchor this in prayer right now. So let's know, right here and right now, that we are the embodiment and the expression of the one presence and power that set the entire universe into motion. And this presence is alive, alert, present, fully available, fully aware of each one of us, fully operating in creative law through us to allow us to bring forth in life that which we choose, consciously, intentionally, that which we desire to bring forth into life, into our own experience. And because this is true, There is something happening in each one of us right now. Breathing into that, we allow ourselves to be changed. We allow the transformation of open-heartedness, of gracious, abundant receptivity to the good that is ours, of generous sharing and giving to that which we are called to distribute in the world with love. This activity of spirit, this working of the creative law within us is power. It is happening now. We welcome it. We allow it. We throw our arms wide open to let it be through us in abundance and grace and goodness. And we are grateful to be reminded of this, to know this truth, and to let it happen. So we release this prayer into the creative law of mind and spirit, where it is automatically and immediately drawn into form and being and experience. We let it go into that law with love, with anticipation of great good. We let it be. We let it be. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. You may be seated. Yay, namaste. Woohoo! Yes, give yourself the hand. Give yourself the hand. All right. So this is our sacred giving time. If you would like to text a donation to Golden Gate, all the information for that is on the screen. Please just follow those directions. It's very easy to do. Okay? And what we do right now is we bless the offering. We bless the offering being given here in this room and including everything that has come to Golden Gate in the past week that we have given or that has been given by anyone. So we're going to join together in this affirmation. Ushers, come on up so that you're ready. We're going to do this giving affirmation. Know that you're blessing what you are giving, what you have given, and what is being given. And then we're going to accept the offering together in just a minute. So please say this with me. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. And while we're experiencing this offering, we're going to have some more wonderful music from Reverend Jack Fowler.
When I was a boy each week, Sunday we would go to church. We'd listen to my daddy preach. He would read the holy word, sing through faith the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time that Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made water wine. I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Everything is holy now. 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 Wine from water water is not so small. An even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. And so the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird singing like a scripture verse, thinking like a burning bush. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. 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 Today the only difference is everything is holy. Join it if you like. Everything is holy. Everything is holy now. 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 Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Holy now.
Thank you, Jack. And thank you, everyone. We do now, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, receive these gifts and offerings with great gratitude, and we send them out into the world to create miracles everywhere they go. And so it is. All right. So if you are here for the very first time this morning, welcome. We are thrilled to have you here. Back at the back table, we have welcome packets that are available for you. You can see Galen holding one up back there. Those are for you. There's other information on the table. Help yourself. Inside the welcome packet, you'll find a blue welcome card. If you fill that out and give it to Galen, she will give you a little book that is our gift to you and thank you for being here this morning. And we hope that you will come back often in the future. We'd love to be your spiritual home and get to know you here. And remember, everybody, to take your production planners home with you and to use them this week. That's your gift, too, from us and your spiritual practice. Now, somewhere here, I thought I had, Reverend Sarah gave it to me, and I probably left it on the back table. The Extra Edge is happening this Thursday morning from 8 to 9:30, is that right? This week. And the theme this month is about gratitude and thanksgiving. But tell me the name of it again, because I lost my...
Well, what are you grateful for, and why are gratitude and thankfulness important?
So what are you grateful for, and why are gratitude and thankfulness important? So those are the discussion topics for the Extra Edge this Thursday morning. You can find the link for the Zoom meeting on our website calendar if you'd like to join Reverend Sarah on Thursday morning at 8 o'clock Pacific for the Extra Edge. Come and talk to Sarah if you have a question, all right? And we want to take a moment also to acknowledge everybody who was involved this morning in bringing us the morning service and making it so lovely and perfect for us, including, of course, all of the people that were up here squished on this little platform, our tiny little stage platform that they used this morning, to provide us with our final scene in A Star is Born. So let's acknowledge everybody that participated this morning. And now I'm going to invite the practitioners to surround the room as we prepare for our morning prayer. And please remember that we have over here on the prayer table, along with the practitioners who are available for you immediately after the service to pray with you, we have a prayer box. That prayer box is available for your written requests. If you come to service and arrive a little bit early and you have some time and you want to put in a prayer request, please feel free to do that. The forms are on the table and you can put them in here. And I like to say that once you let it go, it is in the creative law. And our practitioners will pray over this with you for the full week after it goes into the box. So we're going to have now what we call a chamber of prayer, where you all in the middle are enfolded in prayer that's being spoken by every one of us simultaneously. So take this moment to receive this gift of multiple prayers and multiple layers for you and for all of us right now. And so it is. Now, I have one more special announcement I want to make to you this morning, and that is that I know some of you have November birthdays, but I especially want to acknowledge Tinman, whose birthday is yesterday or today? Yesterday. So let's sing happy birthday to our November people. And Rick Walt just had a birthday. Where are you, Rick? Was it yesterday also? Friday. So if you have a November birthday, would you please stand so we can sing you happy birthday? Look at all these November babies. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear November. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all of you. And now I'd like to invite everyone to please stand and join me for the benediction. And then we'll bring Jack Fowler back for the closing song. All right? So here is our benediction. Together we say, I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. And whoever places a hand in mine is lifted. And whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. All right, take it away, Jack, for the
All right, are you ready to be the star of your show today? Get your dancing shoes on. We are the energy of God. We are the light of the world. Get your costume ready and sing along with me. I am the energy of God. It's really simple. And I am the energy of God. And I am the energy of God. And I am out some joy, y'all. You feeling good? I am the energy of joy. I am the energy of joy. And I am the energy of joy. I am the energy of joy. All right, this is a special one. I am a star in this world. Yes, I am a star in this world. Yes, I am a star in this world. Yes, I am a star in this world. Let's do that one again. Yeah, come on. I am a star in this world. Yes, I am a star in this world. Yes, I am a star in this world. Yes, I am a star in this world. Now one more time, let's look at your neighbor and say, you are a star in this world. Oh, you are a star in this world. Oh yeah, you are a star in this world. Yeah, you are a star in this world. One more time, in the energy of God, and I am the energy of God, and I am the energy of God. Yes, I am the energy of God. Yes, I am the energy. Yes, I am the energy. Yes, I am the energy of God. All right. How fun, y'all. It's been good to be with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack. Yay. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Wish the people around you a fabulous week. Thanks, everybody.